Hello once again. Welcome to the shop. It's me, it's Mike. Today I am going to make a really short video here. It's another real parts build, and it's to celebrate the upcoming release on December 20th of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Now, when the early images and teasers came out of this, or came out for this, this was one of the images that came out. But the point of this video is actually what's there on his chest. Those appear to be some sort of grenades. Now, this guy is ostensibly one of the Knights of Ren. And after a little bit of internet sleuthing, someone actually figured out what those were I think within a couple hours of that picture being posted. And what those are is one of these. The Echo Mic by Ippy Dippy. Ippy Dippy Toys. Yeah, it's a baby toy. And if we look at this one with its little rattle in there, you can see that right there is the grenade. That's what they made it from. Now, this thing is supposed to be some sort of echo toy for a baby to scream into, and it is apparently for ages. I just saw it on here. Apparently, it's also made in China. Ages 3+. But also, it's for the Knights of Ren to use as grenades. So it seems, because there's not a whole lot of clear images of these grenades, except for that one, that they just hacked that off and closed up this end of it and painted it black, and then gave it a little bit of a metal finish. And that's exactly what I'm going to do with this one. This one, I'm going to leave it in the box, not because it's going to make it more valuable, but because I'm going to wait till the movie comes out to see if I'm wrong about this, and then I have another one to make it more accurate. And if I'm right, and this is exactly what they did, then I'll just do it to this one, and then I'll have 2 Knights of Ren grenades. Fantastic. So let's get started by chopping the head off this guy. But first, check this out. You pull that off. Oh, he ran away. You get a little rattle ball. I'm sure parents would love that. Get rid of that. And then this neat little shape, which I'm going to keep that. It might have gotten used for something else, since they did use these for Star Wars. And it also... Where's it at? There it is. It has a light in it. Because children are moths, and they are attracted to light. And then you get to scream, and I don't know if my voice will sound through on the mic, but if you talk through it, it gets an echo. Apparently, that's what it's for, is to get an echo. I don't know how well that came through. We'll find out in post. But yeah, I'm going to chop the head off that and paint it black. Now, before I go too far with this, I've chopped the head off, and I've put some sheet styrene on there. That's only, I think, 20 thousandths piece. It's just to fill the gap. I had a look on the internets, and I found this image. Now, that cover shows a lot of detail of these uniforms, and what's more is that it shows the face of the grenade, not in the best detail. So I laser cut out some close approximation parts to sort of give this side detail, because it looks like it has a timer of some sort. So I'm just going to go with it. That's a timer, and just go from there. So I'm going to put all this together, show it to you, and then we'll paint it. And then we'll paint it again, and then it'll be done. Okay, it's all glued together. It's pretty close. I know it doesn't look like much right now because it's clear. You can't really see the detail too well, but trust me, it's pretty close-ish. Yeah, kind of. We'll see. So here it is, all painted black. Still drying, but I went ahead and I sanded that down a little bit to make it a little bit more rounded, as it appears to be on the actual prop. So now we're going to dry brush it and weather this thing. And to do that, we're going to use some Zorg oldies but goldies. Good old weathering powders number A and C. Those are numbers. And then gunmetal gray is what I'm going to start with. And then we're going to also do some highlighting with some oily steel. And that should be about it. I'm sure I'll figure something else out to do with it in the meantime. But this button also this button also needs to end up being white at the end of it. So, because it appears to be a white or maybe silver button. I might have to go back and repaint it once the film comes out and I get a closer look at it. But oh, I got some putty right there. I have to sort that out. Debris. Goodness. Now, for the time-honored tradition of dry brushing, I'm probably not going to be showing anybody anything new, but if you've never done it, or if you're unfamiliar with dry brushing is a very, very simple technique to add weathering and give depth and have details pop on a model. Now, I am going to be dry brushing it, as I said, to begin with, gunmetal gray by Vallejo, 70.863 to be exact. Now, to do dry brushing, use a brush you're not really that attached to, because It tends to damage brushes when you do it for too long. This is one of my go-to dry brushing brushes. Get you a little dollop of paint. Now I'm using this piece of sheet styrene as a palette, or as an easel rather, and I've used it for that before. And then get a little bit of paint in your brush, and then you're pretty much going to brush most of it out, because you only want a little bit of paint in your paintbrush. And you're going to make light passes over your object, in this case the baby rattle grenade, and excuse me, Knights of Ren grenade. Get away with a lot with this paint. So now we'll do the top here, and I'm going to avoid this button, or what is in effect a button, because it's going to end up being white. Now I should have masked it. Yeah, I should have masked it, and I didn't, so I'll probably pay for that here in a bit when I try to paint it white. But click a piece of metal now. Now, another thing with the finish on these, because this is a grenade, the finish does not have to be perfect. If anyone in the TV Land audience has ever held a real grenade in their hand, I have several times, and the finish on them does not scream to me as a bespoke piece of metalwork. They tend to be rather rough cast, because they are, by definition, sort of one use. So they don't really need to look super great. And they usually have paint runs, and they just don't scream quality. And some grenades have actually a reputation of not being quality at all. And grenades are not Swiss watches is the lesson here, and they don't need to be perfect and shiny. They also don't need to be super rusted and corroded, because most hand grenades, at least modern day hand grenades in the real world, they exist in storage containers in armory depots for years and never get used. And eventually they're just destroyed. So they don't really see a whole lot of field use. Often training is not done with live grenades unless you're actually doing live grenade training. So they tend to not come out unless they're needed. So they don't tend to get a huge amount of wear. Now, clearly, Grenade Face has been wearing these for some time, and maybe they're his favorite grenades. Maybe they're family heirlooms, who's to say? And they have caught some wear over time. So a lot of what I would imagine is paint has worn off. So we will go through and mimic that with the oily steel and my favorite Tamiya weathering powders, and make this thing look as close to the screen prop as possible. Now we'll move on to the oily steel. Same process. Oh, that was a bit much. A bit too much in the brush. And that's what happens when you get too much in the brush. You end up with big streaks of paint. Now, to get some excess out, you can actually use a paper towel to get a lot of excess, which I apparently had a lot of paint in that brush. And that picks up the edge detail quite well there. The benefits of rubber gloves. There. That looks like a piece of metal-ish. And we'll start laying down some white paint on this button. Yeah, like that. And there we go. One Knights of Ren, Kylo Ren, baby rattle grenade. I don't know what this thing actually is. I don't know that it has an official designation yet. Maybe it will. Got a little bit of overage paint there. I'll have to go clean that up. But that is, as near as makes no difference, done. That is one pretty close, I think, to accurate, depending on what this shows, what this looks like in the film. Knights of Ren hand grenade. So there you go. All made from an ippy dippy Echo mic for 3-year-olds. There you go. That's yeah. That's how it's did in Hollywood. But thank you for watching. Please hit the like and subscribe. Please consider Patreon so that I can keep making these videos. And if you would, check out my social media links below to check out the other work that I've done. And next week, or excuse me, the next video in 2 weeks, as a matter of fact, hopefully will actually be the restoration of an ancient model kit from my childhood that was built by my dad and then subsequently lost to history until recently. I was actually going to make this week's video restoring this old model with modern techniques. But instead, I realized I was running out of time and I wasn't going to get it done in time. So instead, I made this thing, which this entire video and the build all took place over a span of about 4 hours. So not so bad for 4 hours. But once that dries, I'll just put that in the display case. But there you go. Once again, thank you for watching. Cheers.